I'm MM and I ask a lot of questions.
I'm Pia, and I don't have a filter.
We'll be asking questions you dare not ask.
And giving answers that might be a little too honest.
So listen up, come and eavesdrop.
This is the Chismis Table.
Hey everyone! Welcome again to another episode of the Chismis Table. I'm sorry. I'm sure you can hear all of that wild, crazy noises. I'm currently in the Imprint Custom Shop, which is soon to open. Free plug. So it's very noisy here. I just took one corner in the area so that we can shoot this very interesting episode for today. I am saying that it's interesting because for one, I've heard of a lot of friends who have decided not to have kids of their own. And it's actually very surprising because, the notion is that for Filipinos, the main reason that they want to get married or they want to be together is for them to have children in the future. So a lot of my friends are coming to that decision that they don't want to have kids. Some I'm actually very surprised because when I see them around with children, they seem to have the time of their lives. Unlike me, like who didn't really plan on having children or not as good with kids, I want to have children of my own. So today, I'm actually going to ask Pia a lot of questions that I haven't asked her yet because she told me about this decision a while back, but I never really got to dig deep on why she made that decision. So, Pia. Pia.
Yes.
No. How many couples do you know don't want to have kids?
Honestly, I don't know a lot of couples who don't want. I do have a friend, or a couple of friends, who started not wanting to have children. It's not that they don't want children; they don't mind not having children, and they live in Singapore. So that decision came a little naturally because obviously living in Singapore is difficult.
Yeah.
Or expensive, or having children in Singapore is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they've been married a few years, they have come to the decision that they actually do want children. But I don't know. I'm sure I know couples who don't want children, but I can't remember who they are now. But that just really goes to show that it's still not as common as we would like, or not common we would like. It's not as common as we would think. Even after all the woman power, you decide what you want to do with your body and you decide for your life and all that movement, it's still a natural or a so-called natural desire for some women to have children. Just not for me. I mean, I'm surprised you said that you never wanted or you didn't want to have children before, because I remember just a few years ago you were already starting to become desperate for children.
Why?
What changed?
No, it wasn't like I didn't really want to have children. I was just not fond of kids as much. I felt like they were such, a lot of them are spoiled brats that they would throw tantrums all over the place.
They do.
And since I was the youngest in the family, I never really experienced taking care of kids. So I didn't really know how to act around them or how it would be if I would have one of my own. So, but not saying that I didn't want to have one. Maybe during the time that I got pregnant, because it was not a planned pregnancy. I was at the peak of my career. It was not top of my priorities to have one of my own. But now that I have one, I'm like, wow, I should have made a baby earlier in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, okay. So when you were at the top of your career and then you found out you were pregnant, did you not think that it was a negative thing that you suddenly got pregnant?
I thought of it in a way. Yeah, because I felt like, I'm going to slow down. I'm not going to be able to do the same things that I would do. Like I would need to go home earlier. I couldn't, the usual things that moms get to think of when they get pregnant. But eventually, I found it as a blessing, especially now seeing her grow up. I'm starting to learn even more about myself as a person that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had it in me. So yeah, that's why. But initially, really, I didn't want. I would always tell friends that you can lend me your children when they are around
Mm-hmm.
0 to 1, and then after that, after that, I don't care. I don't want to take care of them. I'll wait till they're 7. Because they're crazy. Like they
The
run
toddlers.
around. Yeah, the toddler
Mm-hmm.
stage. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't want to take care of kids, especially people like me who didn't grow up with children. Yeah. So did you always did you always want did you always not want to have kids?
Yes.
Ever since when? When did you have this?
For as long as I can remember, I
Really?
didn't want children. One of my friends. This is um, a common conversation
Hmm.
topic with my college friends, and I have a friend who is now married. I think they're 2 years married, and oh, now I know a couple who doesn't want who don't want children. So that's them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she reminded me that when we were in college, I already said that I don't want to have children. And she said that she was very surprised then because
Mm-hmm.
it was such an early stage. I had no life whatsoever to really think about yet, but she was surprised that at that early I already wanted to not have children. And now she said she understands why I'm saying that because I mean, they're a young couple. They're in their 30s, but they're enjoying their lives
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
not having children, of just taking care of each other, which they enjoy very much. But for me, I've just really never been fond of children. And unless I'm required to love them.
Unless they're your relatives.
Yeah, my
Mm.
relatives or children of people who are important to me, like your
Mm.
child.
Mhm.
Of course, I love your daughter, but do I want one? No.
And who knows about this? Like just your friends, or does your family know?
No, my mom doesn't know because she wants grandchildren. Like she
I'm
always
sure.
hints at wanting grandchildren. I remember one time my sister said, even my sister is not open, not really open, but not craving for children
Hmm.
or a relationship in general.
Mhm.
And there was one time she actually said to my mom that she doesn't want children. And my
Wow.
mom said, don't say those things.
Nako,
So
typical
she had
typical Filipina mom.
exactly.
Mm-mm.
So she still has this uh, deep hope and
Mm.
desire that her two daughters will provide grandchildren. But among us siblings, actually, there's already an understanding that the grandchild will come from my younger brother. Because I don't know, it just never occurred to me to want them. I don't
Mm.
know. I mean, I have two dogs and
Okay.
they're a little difficult to take care of because they're senior dogs already, but I'm pretty sure they're 100% easier
Mm.
to take care of than
Mm.
children.
Yeah.
And then dogs will not hurt you when they get older. They only get sweeter. Children, the older they get, the worse they become.
Based on our experience.
Based on how I
Based on
was as
how
a
we are,
child.
yes.
Based on all the children I've ever seen and met, nobody gets better when they get older.
So you don't want to have that hassle in your life.
Not really, no. And I mean, obviously, no offense to parents who want children or who have children. No offense to
Mhm.
you who has a daughter. It's just not something I ever imagined myself having. And it's different with a relationship because that's also
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
that I said I never imagined
Yeah.
having, being in a
Mhm.
long term relationship. And then when it came, it turned out to be really good. But that's because he is self-sufficient. I am self-sufficient.
Okay.
And, whatever he does is his responsibility. One of the biggest reasons why I don't want children is I don't want to be responsible for an
Mm.
entire human being who may or may not, be a good person in the future. We all hope that they will be, but we all know that there are a lot of not so great people out there, and they all
Yeah.
have parents. And what if that's me? I don't want to be that person.
So is it more of a fear?
Maybe both.
Mm.
Fear of being responsible for a person and how that person's going to turn out, and convenience. I just really don't want to take care of another person.
So this was what? Since you were in high school, since you were young?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
I've tried to think about it many times, and I don't really know what the real trigger or real root is, but one for sure is my desire for freedom and clinging on to freedom. So I grew up in a very, very strict household, and I was monitored, for the longest time until I finally went to college, and I moved out of the house for that time period. And that is the same philosophy I had with relationships. The reason why I shied away from relationships for a long time is I felt that being in a relationship kind of traps me into some kind of arrangement. Like you have to answer to your partner.
Okay.
But I know that was a very immature way of looking at a relationship. But that's also around the same idea that I have with having children. And with children, it's a lot worse, I think, because it's with a partner, you don't have to always be there 100%, but with children,
Yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
And I don't have that EQ or patience or empathy to be 100%, 100,000% for someone to be 100% dependent on me as well for however long that they are dependent
Yeah.
on you, right? So that's
Yeah.
not something I really want ever.
Mm-hmm. How did your friends react when they found out about this?
They're not surprised that I don't want children, but they are surprised at the beginning that there are women who don't want children. Again, it plays into the stereotype maybe, or the expectation. Actually, it's an expectation more than a stereotype that women um, are supposed to have children and they need to procreate and take care of families and whatever else people say about motherhood. But it's really just not something that I want. I mean, I have other things that I can take care of, just not children.
Yeah. But I'm sure before you thought about this, like you had a lot of thoughts, or there were a lot of factors that went into that decision before you made that decision. Or are there like negative things that you thought about before you decided you're not gonna have children?
It's not a I feel like always never wanted children, and I was waiting for a reason to make me think it's worth it.
Okay.
And so far, I have not found that reason. Like I have a lot of friends who have children. Them just gave birth, and then I have friends who are pregnant. And they talk to me about all the wonderful things about being a mom, the joys of giving birth, falling in love with their baby for the first time. And those are beautiful things to hear. But then you also hear about not sleeping and all the tantrums that you have to
Yeah.
go through. And, the cons for me outweigh the pros. And again, I don't know. I don't really have. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's really just not something I want.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess it's also the weird thing about not wanting to have children. Like if you're a woman and you want children, then great. That's how it's supposed to be. But if you're a woman and you don't want kids, sometimes you're compelled to explain why.
Yeah,
You
are.
have
That's
to
why.
say
That's why I'm
why.
asking you.
I'm saying you don't have to ask me
I
why.
know, but I want to ask because I don't really know what goes through the brains of like people. Like, sure, I respect everyone's decision. If they don't want to have kids, it's fine. But of course, I want to know why or how they came to that decision in the first place. Because some people say that you should have children so that someone would take care of you when you get older, or that as Filipinos, sila yung ano natin, yung legacy, yan, yung
Yeah.
ipapamana natin yon. So like, do you think about those things like in the future, or you feel like you're going to regret this decision someday? Well, I hope not, but do you think about those things?
Not really, actually. I mean, I do worry sometimes about growing old and being incapacitated in some way. But again, having children is not a guarantee that there will be people who will take care of you, because
That's
I do
true.
know of people who have either abandoned their parents, or I do know of parents who have been abandoned by their children. So again, that's not a guarantee. And the idea of in the Philippines, the idea of having more children means there are a lot more people who can help you in life.
Yeah.
I think that's such a Filipino thing again, because people or children are expected to stay with a family and to be still very, very close, and abandon whatever for their family. And to some extent, I am that way too, but not really. And like you were saying, I mean, when you had again the having someone to take care of you in the future and all that, I think that is a social or a societal imposition, I think, right? Because I mean, when you got your baby, I don't think that's the first thing you thought
No.
of, right?
Of course not.
So exactly. So a lot of the reasons why society, I feel this is all societal. I think a lot of the reasons why society expect women to want children are based on very skewed perspectives, which is probably why I've never been really convinced to want to have kids, because I just have a very different perspective. Again, I feel I was born in the wrong country, because I'm pretty sure if I were in America or in a more westernized,
it's not an issue.
Yeah, people won't really care if I didn't want to have children. But again, I'm in the Philippines, and it's like family first. Women has a certain role in the community and society, and that's something that we have to fulfill. So that's not really something I agree with. And the one, luckily, because my partner now has always wanted children, and he already has one, and now that he has one, he doesn't want another one.
Oh, good for you.
Good for me. But also that means being an instant stepmom is something I did not really want from our relationship, but I have to accept it now. I mean, that's a completely different conversation altogether. How to deal with that thing. But see, even him not wanting to have a second child signals to me that having a child to begin with is not
It's
as
not good for you. Yeah.
it's not as great as people think. I mean, I'm sure it's beautiful. It's the magic of life. It's a miracle of life. But those are things reserved for you guys. And I will contribute to the world in some other
In another way. Yeah, through like beautiful makeup.
Yes.
You
I
know,
mean, honestly, like, I mean, again, you are the, I feel like you fit into such the ideal female role model, you
for
know?
Filipinas,
Yes,
really? Not,
because
I don't really think so.
because you're very kind and demure.
Yes, but you know,
I mean,
there's yeah.
you do have a strength, which is also I feel very Filipina. You know, you do have a
Mm.
strength and independence, um, but your approach to all these things are very ideal for a lot of
Mm.
Filipinos, like how you
Okay.
have children or you
Mm.
approach raising children,
Mm.
even how you are with your partner, or you're super supportive, and you
Okay.
know, but that's really just not me. Okay, I will challenge you. Like, what
What?
is, if you try to
Mm.
convince me to want to have a child, what would you say to me that would make me feel like, huh, maybe having a child really is something that I should consider?
You know, I don't want to put the pressure on you, and I don't even want to pressure anyone because I feel bad for like couples who, you know, I have a set of friends. They've decided a long time ago that they don't want to have kids, but they're
Mm,
really good with like kids of their friends.
mm.
And they told us that, you know, we don't want to have kids of our own. And then the entire group would just keep pressuring them. Like, whenever we would go out,
Mhm.
they would like say something, hihirita na, oh, look, oh, it's fun to have kids. It's good.
Mm,
So parang, I feel bad for them because, you know, they already made that decision and they made it clear to us. So we
mm,
shouldn't joke around it, you know. Parang,
mm.
I don't want to say anything to you to make you change your mind because it we're yeah, different
Yeah.
strokes for different folks.
I just feel that being a mom is over glorified in so many
Mm,
ways that not being a mom is not, you know, like,
mm.
and it also is a little bit negative for moms because once you become a mom, you suddenly have that identity that
Yeah.
you are a mom, and
Mm,
everything else that you were before
yeah.
kind of becomes, you know,
Yep.
gets put in the back seat because
Yep.
your life is consumed by your kid.
Mm,
And it's evident in the fact that, and this is not a stereotype, I think, and this is not
mm.
judgment also,
Mm.
but moms I know can't talk about anything else other
Then
than
being a
their
mom.
children. And
But do
I,
they do that?
you don't talk about Candace all the
All the time.
time, but you do a lot.
Okay.
And your Facebook, which used to be inactive because you didn't
No,
care about social media, is now filled with
with
photos of your
photos of the
baby.
baby.
Which again, I understand because your life does get consumed by your
Yes.
child. And I guess it's the same with me with my dogs. 'Cause my Instagram stories are always about my dogs anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think when someone becomes a mom, it's
Mm.
great. It's a
Mm.
congratulations. You know, it's a
Yeah.
time for celebration. But when someone declares, I don't want to be a mom,
Mm.
it feels like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like you're a bad person.
It feels like the whole world is against you. Diba?
Hmm.
Parang you're the villain of the story. Oh, here goes the
Exactly.
girl who doesn't want to be a mom.
And then we're called selfish or
Yeah.
we're lonely people. Maybe it's kind of true.
No. I feel like you just like your happiness shouldn't come from, you know, bearing a child or
Mhm.
it could be from your dogs, from your partner, just not your own child,
Hmm.
right?
And I
Mhm.
also don't believe that mothering instincts come naturally. Um,
Mm.
for me, I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but also for some of my friends who
Mhm.
have children, they also went through that phase. I don't know if that's a normal thing, but they also went
Mhm.
through that phase where they didn't really feel that instant connection that movies always show when you have your baby. And they still struggle through being able to be a mom to this
Mm,
child.
mm,
So
mm,
I also get annoyed when people assume
mm.
that mother instincts or nurturing instincts are come naturally, and when people say like, no, when you have a child it will come to you and blah blah, but I don't think so. And I've taken care of a lot of children. I've played with your kid, I've
Mm,
played with my
mhm,
partner's kid, and
mm,
I love them obviously.
mhm.
um, but I don't think, I mean, obviously, I will never be able to connect to these kids as much as you guys would ever would. And it also doesn't mean that, I don't have unconditional love for them, because I
Yeah.
do. It's just I'm happy they're not mine.
You don't have to think of all the hassles after in
Mm-hmm.
between.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like my partner was saying, I have to be ready
Mm.
when we're finally together. That his son, when we fight, if we fight, which we probably will tell me, you're not my mom.
Oh.
And I told him, it's fine. I would say, thank God. And I said that as a joke. But again, I actually mean it, because
Mm.
I just can't imagine again being the one responsible for how somebody turns out to
Mhm.
be.
Mhm.
And of course our hope is all our children and all your children turn out to be the best version of themselves, and are set up to do amazing things. But there are
Mhm.
just so many things around children that are not within your control. Like I feel like once they start going to school, you're kind of
Yeah.
screwed because there are so many things you don't know anymore.
All right. So, I think just to wrap everything up, I got a lot of clear answers now on
Mm-mm.
why you don't want to have kids. I'm never gonna pressure you to change
Mm-mm.
your decision because I'm just, I'm a consentidor person to begin with. But I think these are really hard thought decisions that you don't make overnight, and people should just respect those types of decisions, and not put a pressure on them, not make them like the villain, or not think of anything negative against them, and not judge them because people have their own reasons why they make these decisions in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The Chismis Table.